And now, it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sandin, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray along with Corey Sandin. Rock Cod Rick is in the War Heroes on Water tournament today. Good luck to all those heroes today for sure. Boy, what a great show we have for you today. It's lobster season just around the corner, and Steve Oropeza from Promar and Captain Justin Botrell from Bowline Sportfishing are here to talk lobsters, fishing, and more. You stay tuned. This is Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio. Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. FishDope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Catine, 365 days a year. FishDope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have FishDope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code to save $20 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel. In San Diego, the future belongs to everyone. So Ford engineered the truck of the future for everyone, the Ford F-150, available with a Pro Power onboard generator. What a great addition for anglers. There's also a variety of cab configurations for whatever you need to haul. The truck of the future isn't created for just a few. It's created for us who love the ocean and the outdoor life. Ford F-150. Test drive one at your local San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
All right, good morning and welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. And man, I can't believe it's already lobster season right around the corner.
Hard to believe. October 1st next Sunday.
Crazy.
Yeah, busy morning down here at the San Diego landings. A lot of people, a lot of fish being unloaded for Fisherman's Processing. I was looking over there from the world headquarters here. It's like, woo,
I know,
big day, man.
A lot happening.
A lot happening. And welcome to the Promar guys, Steve and Justin. Morning, guys.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Great to have you. All right. So, Promar, of course, it's so much more than lobster at Promar. I mean, you guys do a lot with the tuna fishing. I just learned from Justin the new hot item there I got to get for the boat from Promar. But why don't you tell us about Promar, Ahi, and what you guys do over there?
Absolutely. So there's two brands with Promar. There's Promar, which is the landing nets, the lobster stuff, the crab stuff, and then we have Ahi as well. A lot of guys know Ahi for the diamond jigs. That's kind of a staple in the rock fishing here in Southern California and Northern California. We do cast nets as well, but that obviously is not so popular in California. We do a lot of cast nets on the East Coast and the Gulf Coast. But we cover almost every aspect of fishing. We do a little bit of everything. We do gaffs. We do, like I said, traps, hoop nets, jigs, sabiki rods, sabikis. So we try to cover the gamut when it comes to fishing.
That's the sabiki rod that you make. Is that a Promar or Ahi?
That's an Ahi item.
Ahi item. Yeah, that thing is like amazing.
If you have,
it's a staple.
Yeah, if you have your own boat, you have to have a sabiki rod.
Yeah.
Most people, they buy a sabiki, they throw it on. They have to actually cut one of their setups on a regular rod, tie that on, use it once, and then you throw it away. And then if you keep it in your rod holder on a small skiff, you're walking around and you might hook yourself. You end up, it's just a mess. So that sabiki rod, it's nice because that sabiki sits in the rod. You don't have to worry about hooking anything. And your one sabiki that you would normally throw away ends up lasting, 4 or 5 at least trips.
Sure.
Because it's protected and you can just easily deploy it whenever you go across a ball of bait.
Winds right into the interior.
Yeah.
I keep one on the rod rack every day. I mean, I'm sure you do too, Justin, huh?
I do. I have a couple of them.
Yeah, for sure. So Justin, now how you fall into this here? You have you're a sport fishing captain.
I am. I run a 6-pack charter at a 22nd Street landing. And then I also do guiding, where I go on people's boats.
Okay.
Show them how to operate their boat, how to find the fish, how to catch fish.
Wow. And it's called Bowline Sportfishing.
Bowline Sportfishing.
Yeah, out of 22nd Street. And your vessel is, man, that's a battleship, man. Tell us about your boat.
Yeah, so it's a 45-foot sport fisher pacemaker. And it's all repowered, has Caterpillar engines, and I cruise right around 20.
Sweet.
That's crazy.
And where do you cover?
I cover from Santa Barbara Island all the way down to the 181 and inshore Catalina, San Clemente Island.
Everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
From lobster all the way up to bluefin and marlin.
All right. Been a good season for you?
It has. Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. What do you think for you was the peak of this season, or is it right now?
I would say right before the storm came was the peak. Now everything is kind of up and down. The fish are a little bit harder to find right now, but once you're on them, we're getting them to bite.
Yeah.
So.
I think you're trying to say Hillary just kind of screwed it up.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that, but
yeah. Well, that's normal, right? We've been through that before. Hey, but lobster season, man, that's kind of one of the subjects today. But we can talk tuna too with Justin because he's on the fish all the time. But lobster season, there's a little twist that the Department of Fish and Wildlife have put into it, right?
Yeah. So Justin brought me up on this information yesterday, and I guess it's something that was just announced yesterday, right?
Yes, it was.
We received emails from California Fish and Wildlife, and it looks like basically from Point Vicente south to the end of the federal break wall in Long Beach, it's going to be closed until
inside the harbor.
Both inside and
outside.
Yeah, there's a zone. There's actually a map floating around. I saw it on social media that lays out exactly where it's going to be delayed. But that area specifically for sport fishermen is going to be delayed. They're going to do another assessment on the 29th, next Friday.
Yes. Which is opening day.
Opening day. And hopefully the reason that they're shutting it down is because there were high levels of domoic acid in lobster. And so they did another I don't know how many assessments they've done already, but they just did one recently on the 21st, I believe it was. Yes. And the levels were already lower. So they were good enough to allow it to open. But for whatever reason, they want to do another assessment, which is going to be the next Friday. And if everything comes back okay, then they'll open it. But I'm anticipating that if they do that test on Friday and the results are good, it'll probably take another few days at least, maybe a week, for them to publicize that, and then the season will open.
So crazy. I mean, hearing this, it's something that it's reminiscent in my mind of like what's happened with the Dungeness crab up north, like Northern California.
Exactly.
And same kind of deal.
And it's kind of confusing. Domoic acid. I mean, is it red tide related, or where does that?
Yeah,
maybe the runoff over in LA.
Yeah,
could
Long
be.
Beach, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think like we just talked about it, Hillary, right? So that came in. There was a lot of rain runoff, a lot of trash in the water, a lot of nasty stuff. Algae. We had red tide algae blooms going crazy. I think that all is obviously a part of it. It's got to be. And I guess what happens is with the domoic acid levels, I personally don't think it's the worst thing in the world to have a little bit of domoic acid. I'm sure we've all probably experienced it. I mean, we've been fishing lobster for 50 years, you know, and inside Long Beach Harbor and all these crazy
What else
places.
is in there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't worry me too much, but I can see where it can be a hazard for certain people if they have health problems already or something like that. It can be a problem. So,
so those that like to fish the federal brick wall inside Long Beach Harbor, those areas are affected, and you can't fish there. But that means that Catalina's still okay. Santa Monica Bay is still okay.
Yeah. So
around Newport, San Diego, all the coast there, up and down.
So just imagine what Catalina is going to be like opening day.
Exactly. Yeah. So luckily, it's just that area. I mean, it's a big area. It's a critical area for us.
One of the best areas around.
Exactly.
Right? Yes.
But it's better. At least they didn't shut down the season completely, because we've seen, it can happen. That can definitely happen. Yeah. It happens with crab all the time up north. They shut down the whole season or delay it the whole season. So now it's basically, if you want to fish Santa Monica Bay, you can. Catalina, you can go south of that and fish it, no problem. Dana Point. It just means that maybe those places are going to be a little bit more crowded for this season's opener.
Yeah.
Just that main area in Long Beach, LA Harbor, is shut down.
That's shut down.
Yeah.
Until
but that's a big area and very, very popular for hoopers, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Do you hoop in there?
I do. I do very well.
Is it good?
It is.
Yeah.
It's Jurassic Park, right? I think that's the nickname for it.
Huge lobsters come out of there.
Yeah.
We get limits a lot.
Really?
A lot of limits.
Yes. A lot of limits, yeah. So what's new at Promar for lobster guys? I mean, I'm a lobster guy. I love doing it. It's and you guys make the best equipment. Anything new this year? I know you've come out like stuff new.
No, so nothing too new. I mean, the most recent thing that we did last year is we launched a much heavier hoop net. That, I would say, unless you have a puller on your boat, I mean, there's that's where you would want to use that in your fishing deeper water. Now we have 4 hoop nets that you can choose from in the ambush line. The 32 is a standard, which is what I would suggest using if you're on a kayak or if you're on a smaller boat where you don't have the space for a 36. Then you can bump up, if you have space for it, to a 36-inch, the XL, which is just a bigger, more real estate, more space in there. So if you're fishing, you can hold more lobster in there. More lobster can crawl in, and you can potentially catch a limit faster. And then you have the heavy 36 XLH, which is a 13-pound hoop net. So if you're fishing deeper water, an area that has more current, like the Catalina, I know, is notorious for having a little bit of a current when you're fishing there, that's probably going to be ideal for you. And then there's the XLHD, which is the heaviest of the 4. That comes in at about 23 pounds.
Ooh, wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, so guys that are fishing deep water, 200 plus feet, heavy current, that's going to hold the bottom really good, and you won't have to worry about adding additional weight for it to hold the bottom. We also designed that specifically for the guys up in Northern California for the Dungeness crab.
Oh.
So those guys were asking for a hoop net for them, and we did that. And
because they have a lot of currents up there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They needed something very heavy, so we came out with that. And in turn, a lot of guys are using that for Catalina now. So
there's a lot of deep water spots at Catalina that produce a lot of lobster.
Good stuff.
So that heavier net will definitely work. Yeah. That way you don't have to add the chains and everything else at the bottom of the net to hold it down.
And the thing about that heavier net also is we actually made that taller, so there's more space in that net. There's more volume in that net.
More lobster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. More lobster.
I like your thinking.
In there. Yeah.
So I know the H, and then that's that the HD is another 10 pounds heavier.
Exactly. So it's the NE 107, 107 XL, 107 XLH, and then now the HD, XLHD.
HD, yeah. And what do you use, Justin?
I use the 36.
The 36-inch, just the standard one.
The standard one.
Do you weight it?
No, I don't. I don't hoop net that deep. I only hoop net from about 10 feet to about 35, 40 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
Shallow.
Even at Catalina.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The Dave Hansen method.
I do.
Yeah. Or maybe you taught Dave.
No, Dave taught me.
Okay.
Oh. He's my biggest promoter. You're a saltwater guide all the way.
Yeah. He's always talking about getting that up in there tight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So we talked tuna and stuff, and you were talking about an ahi jig that's been killing it for you. It's a cedar plug daisy chain, right?
Daisy chain cedar plug. That thing is killer right now for the yellowfin tuna. You troll those around about 7-8 miles an hour. You'll get hooked up and throw some bait, and it'll bring all the fish to your boat.
Nice. Yeah, that's one of your secret deals, huh?
It is, and it's the daisy chain that looks like a anchovy.
The anchovy.
That is the number one.
So they're smaller profiles, but the one with the hook is.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's a daisy chain like Justin just mentioned. So there's three teasers on it, and each teaser is about 4 inches long, and then the tail section one is a 6-inch plug, and that's got the mustad hook on it, 10-aught mustad hook, and those are all rigged with fluorocarbon. Typically, you know, most of your cedar plugs that you see on the market, they're monofilament. We actually rigged ours with fluorocarbon, just as an added bonus. Double crimped. So everything's double crimped. It's got a mustad hook. It's got a 250-pound crane swivel on it. So it's rigged to perform against, you know, the yellowfin that are popping up around here.
You troll one of those through an area, say down here in San Diego, where the water color is blue to the greenish color, right in that
right
water
on that
color
edge.
break. Yeah, you'll get hooked up.
No kidding.
Pretty easy. Yeah.
And we offer
letting out your secrets there, Justin.
Oh yeah,
I know.
We offer them in a variety of colors. So we do anchovy, we do blue mackerel, green mackerel, sardine, mahi, and then we obviously have to do the natural wood, right? That's the staple. So we do them in all those colors.
Just crazy how that cedar plug works. I mean, it's just something
and
that
then
works.
the cedar plug daisy chain, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's a whole nother avenue. One of the things that you guys do with your live deception and also with these cedar plugs that you put like it's like real images on it. Why don't you explain
exactly.
that?
So everything that we do when it has the live deception name on it, we take a real fish image. So our graphics guy Joaquin Espinoza, he's so talented. We'll go out fishing and we'll catch these species and we'll bring them back. We'll actually put them on ice right away. And we want to preserve the colors on them. We'll bring them back, and he'll bring them into the studio, and he'll shoot them. He'll take 100 pictures of them, and then we'll take that image, and then we'll use that to print directly on the jig.
Wow!
How
so
cool.
Every jig has a real fish image, and it's
Scale
not a
pattern.
everything.
Coloration.
The mahi, I mean everyone, and it's not a wrap. So that's the difference between our stuff and some of the other stuff that you see on the market. A lot of the other stuff are wraps. Ours is actually printed, so it's very chip resistant. You know, if you're fishing bonita or anything like that that's toothy, what tends to happen with wraps is after a few bites it just falls apart. Yeah. Whereas ours, you do see the nicks on it, but it sticks on. It's very chip resistant. So that's the big benefit that we have with the live deception series. But yeah, it's a real fish image.
That stuff is amazing. How good those images stay on, right, Justin? Justin is shaking his head. It's like,
oh yeah.
I mean, bite after bite, they stay there, and it's like, how do you do it?
Yeah, it's a print. It's like
it's embedded into the metal,
exactly,
right? Or the wood, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's crazy that we were able to figure out how to do it on wood. Metal's one thing, you know, when we were doing it on the jigs.
Sure.
But doing it on the cedar plug, that was very difficult. It was like a 2-year process, and then we finally got it down. So it works great.
How cool!
Yeah. So that daisy chain works great, right, for the yellowfin. But if you take the regular cedar plug, the wood one, and put it back about 200 yards behind your boat, it's not a secret. And pull through a foamer, hold on.
Really?
Those big tuna.
Just a single one.
Eat that right up. Just hold on.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting.
So like down the middle, way back.
Way back. 200 yards back, 7 miles an hour, pull it through the foamer, hold on.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it, man.
Yeah, as you can hear, we have a great story. Now, does that qualify for you, Corey? I mean, you okay trolling?
You know what? I mean, I'm about harvesting, you know, so hey, whatever it takes, man.
Absolutely.
I like bringing home a tuna.
Yeah, for sure.
Man. I'll do what I got to do. I love learning.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as you can hear, we have a great show lined up for today. A lot of knowledge in this studio right here.
Absolutely. And if you want to join us today, having these two gentlemen in studio is super cool, and lobster season right around the corner. My gosh, a week away, man. Yeah, right?
I'm excited.
So we've got a lot to talk about, and if you want to join us, again, 213-432-1090 is the telephone number here to Let's Talk Hookup, or you can send us some texts. There's a handful of texts that have already come through, and if you want to be a part of that, you go to the app, and it's a free download, super easy, and right there you'll see a tab for Text the Show, and it's super simple. When it comes to us, it's a one-way deal, so make sure that you do leave your name and telephone number when you text us, because at the end of the show, we're giving away 2 prizes. How about that, man? One to a lucky caller and one to a lucky texter, and giving away $50 to each one of you to promarahi.com, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so you can use that gift card on your website?
Yeah, anything on the web. Yeah, the jigs that we're talking about, the cedar plugs, lobster gear, everything.
Yeah, how about that?
It this year.
I like it.
A really good year.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's all yours.
That's pretty nice.
I know it, man. Give us a call, 213-432-1090, or you can send us a text via the app. We're going to be right back. More Promar and all this cool stuff when we return on the Let's Talk Hookup app, the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
The ranch is small, It's very personal, very intimate. I don't think there's anywhere else that you could have the old Baja feel and have all those miles of beachfront, the palapa roofs and the stone walls. There's not a room that you don't have some kind of ocean view. You don't give up any amenities at the ranch. It's just very rustic. You know how when you cook outdoors it tastes better? Well, that's Rancho Leonero. It just tastes better. We have paddle boards. We've got kayaks. We've got snorkeling equipment, of course. We've got 12 super pongas. We have dive trips. We've got over 40 kayaks at the hotel. We've got all accurate equipment, very top of the line. And when the fishing's good, we'll freeze your fish, pack it all up, send it home with you. People love it. They'll come back 5-6 times a year. That's the highest accolade we can get. 1-800-646-2252, 646-BAJA. And RanchoLandAero.com. It's unique.
Hey, this is Rosie with Cedros Sportfishing. We have always been the leader in fishing trips to Cedros Island. We have set the bar even higher with our second lodge opening for the 2022 season. Side-by-side lodges sitting on the cliff's edge with relaxing ocean views. With direct flights departing through the CBX in San Diego, we are committed to providing first-class service to our guests and an unforgettable fishing experience. Come check out the yellowtail and calico bass capital in the world. Nobody does it better than Cedros Sportfishing. Call me at 619-772-7570 or check us out at cedrosportfishing.com.
There are plenty of boat slips and marinas in San Diego, but there's only one Kona Kai. It's not just a place to park your boat. It's a way of life here in America's finest city. The Kona Kai Resort Spa and Marina has multiple swimming pools and a private beach, waterfront restaurants, and award-winning spa, most of which is included for marina tenants. Check ResortKonakai.com for more information. The Kona Kai Resort, much more than just a place to park your boat.
For quality, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. The quality of the captains and crew, as well as the great meals and service, speak for themselves. Comfortable staterooms, a super clean and well taken care of boat are just a few of the reasons the Islander is so popular. The Islander specializes in 1.5 to 5 day fishing. Experience the Islander difference. Visit IslanderSportFishing.com.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. We're talking lobster here during the break. Getting all fired up.
So you were just talking about a lobster hoop you pulled last year with how many?
18 lobsters.
18 lobsters in it.
Crazy.
Was that in the bay or was that out the island?
That was at Catalina.
Catalina.
It was about 35 feet of water. Heavy hoop net, right? So that day we did an experiment on what works best for bait. And we got 123 or 134 lobsters. I did a YouTube video on it. And obviously the best thing was live sardines.
Yeah. But you're not using them live, right? I mean, you're taking a live sardine.
Yeah, so what I do is I get the live sardines from the bait barge. Yes. And then I'll go out there. I'll keep them fresh. And I'll put little slices in them. Yeah. And then shove the inside of the seal-proof bait tubes. I'll just stuff it full.
Gotta have the seal-proof bait.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, it's become a necessity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
they figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Promar ones are the best. I mean, you can make your own and stuff like that, but it's
especially now.
Go price them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what everything in Home Depot. You go to Home Depot, everything, all the prices have gone up.
Yeah.
So really, by the time you build your own, you're pretty close to what it costs to just buy the Promar ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually more money because I was building my own, and it was more money for me to build my own than it was to buy the seal-proof.
Yeah. And then all the time drilling the holes.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like a pain to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And if they fail, then you're out. Like it's just, you know, with us, if they fail for whatever, if it's a manufacturer defect, you come back to us, we'll replace them.
There it is.
So.
Yeah, no, that works. Hey, phones are packing up. A lot of texts coming through, and this is a very good question from Cliff in Blossom Valley. He says, question about tides and lobster fishing, which is always the big question, right? Mission Bay, San Diego Bay, or any bay. I fish on a kayak, so big tidal swings like the opener make it challenging. What is your advice on lobstering during big tidal movements?
It's a good question.
So I haven't really noticed any difference between tides on when it's best. So what I have noticed, though, is in the beginning of the season, the first 2 to 3 hours of sunbreak or day-night, it's the best time. And then
right at the beginning.
As
soon as it gets dark.
So towards the end of the season, it runs longer until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
And then what about in regards to rigging? Because I think with the tide swing, you have to also be prepared with rigging because your hoop can start floating away, or you'll have too movement. You'll have too much rope floating on the surface of the water, and that can cause an issue.
That's what you don't want. You don't want your rope to float. So you want to make sure that you get the Promar actual weights that pull your rope down. Not only is it for the tide swing or current, but it's also going to be for fouling your prop.
Yeah. So now explain that again. So this is like a weighted line, is that right, Steve?
Yeah. So it's a 6 ounce. We make 2 options: a 6 ounce or a 12 ounce, and they come on it looks like a long line clip, and so you clip that onto the slack end, the tail end of your rigging.
Okay.
And then what it does is traditionally, if you didn't have that, your rope would just kind of float around your float, around
the excess
buoy.
rope.
Yeah, it would just float around your buoy, and that could cause a potential hazard if you're, depending on how close you're setting your hoop nets, you might be reaching for one, and before you know it, your prop is in the rope of the other one.
Not cool.
And if you're going as shallow as I go, you can be right next to the rocks.
Yes.
And if you're getting pushed into the rocks, it's too late. You're not going to be able to throw the anchor fast enough.
Yes. So with this weighted clip, you just snap it on the excess rope, and it just sinks that all out. So everything's straight up and down over your hoop net, and you don't have to worry about that.
So if I understand right, you're putting that on the back end of the buoy, right?
Yeah.
You're putting it on the back end of the buoy so that any slack in the front end of the buoy is taken up behind the buoy and then
the rope
sunk
is
out.
getting pulled down.
It's almost as if the buoy turns into a pulley.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I get it.
And then and so you snap that on one side of the rope, and it just pulls everything. It kind of pulls it tight.
So the other advantage of it is when you're pulling up a hoop net, you're going to want to pull straight up and down to keep the lobsters pressed down into the net.
Yeah.
So you get the most lobsters you can instead of them coming out. If you have the slack line, you're going to be pulling it sideways. And some of the lobsters can come out. And if you go with me, you're going to get tons of lobsters in there, and you're going to end up losing some.
Why does that whole technique sound like a Jim Salazar deal?
I know.
He's the guru. He's the original guy.
So this weighted line is in lieu of like a sinker on the end.
Exactly.
Okay, because I have mine rigged with sinkers.
Yeah, a lot of guys.
That sounds a lot simpler.
Yeah. So
cleaner.
The reason that we did this is because I used to do the same thing. I used to use 8-ounce sinkers, zip tie them on the end, and make it. But at the end of the day, or when you're done using everything, it just adds a bunch of weight to your rope and your rigging, and it's messy. With this,
zip tie breaks.
Yeah, your zip tie breaks. You lose it. With this, it just clips on, and when you're done with it, you clip it off, throw it in a bucket, and then everything gets. You're just a little bit more organized.
Yeah, and you can that way you can keep your floats separate from your lines too.
Exactly.
That sounds when did you come out with that? That's a good one.
That's what I said. It's got
that's a good.
That was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah, when we came out with that.
Wow.
All right. That's great stuff. All right, let's jump into the phones, Corey.
Let's do it. How about Doug? Doug calling from Montebello. Good morning, Doug.
Yeah, I was wondering on the bait. What's the best bait to use?
That's got to be a number one question.
I know it is.
You just talked about sardine.
Fresh sardine.
That's your that's your go-to.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. So we did we did a little experiment. We used liver, we used salmon head, salmon chunks, we used salmon skin. There's about 5 or 6 other items that we used as well. And the number one thing it caught 80% of the lobsters was fresh sardines.
Fresh.
80% of the lobsters.
80%.
Yeah.
Fresh sardines.
Uh-huh. So you know what didn't work? Liver.
Liver. But what like liver, huh?
What kind of liver? Fish liver? Tuna liver?
I have
beef
no clue.
liver?
I just went to Stater Brothers and
just like a beef liver or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
You would think.
I think it was a vegan. I think we're making fun of it because it was a vegan liver.
Oh.
Right? So that's what we
okay.
used, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
At all.
Yeah. You know the other thing that I found doesn't work? Squid.
Oh,
yeah. You know, when that giant squid was around, I was like, oh, man, this stuff's going to work great. Chunk it all up. Anyway.
Here's that blood or that deterioration.
Yeah.
Oil.
Right?
Here's another one.
Oil.
Here's another one that doesn't work. If you don't want to catch any lobster at all, give your buddy sheephead.
Sheephead carcass. Okay.
They will not work.
They don't work.
Yes.
Oh,
I promise
maybe
you.
because they're predators.
Because they get eaten. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's another good tip from Corey, right?
They run the opposite way when they smell sheep.
Sheephead, yeah.
They see that skin color, right?
Yeah.
That's black and red.
Yeah. And so you said you don't chop them up. You just put them in kind of slices.
I put slices in them. I don't chop them up. That way, when they're in the tube, none of them accidentally come out. Because I want to make sure all of it stays inside of the seal-proof tube.
Right.
And the lobsters will stay in your net longer.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than fresh blood. Like that's the number one.
That's attractive.
Like if you take that sardine and you try to freeze it and use it an hour later. I mean, and we're talking like 10 days later, right? It's the same thing. It will not work.
Like it doesn't work, and I don't know why.
It just doesn't.
Deterioration of the fish. Something.
Yeah.
I think it puts out an electric pulse in the water. I'm not sure what it is.
It's just there's less blood flowing. I don't know why.
It's all about the freshness.
Yeah.
Going back to that surgeon trip I took earlier this month, the guide we were with said, I said, well, why do we have to catch fresh salmon every day? Why can't you just take the stuff that was, because they're just like bottom feeders, right? He said the difference between catching fresh salmon that day and putting it on your hook versus even yesterday's frozen or not so fresh, he says it's night and day. He says you double your catch with fresh. So it's probably like the same thing.
Very
same
similar.
thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. So if you take frozen sardines, right, you use that, you're going to catch 1 or 2 lobsters.
Right.
But if you use fresh, you can catch 20, 30 or more.
Night and day. But frozen mackerel and like the stinky salmon, frozen.
Bonito.
It'll work.
All that stuff
right?
works.
It'll work.
Yeah.
But I'm not out there to catch 1 or 2. I'm out there to catch all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to get
I like your thinking.
I know.
You sound like Dave Hansen.
You want to get your limit, right?
They want to jump in the white bag.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, let's head down south. Talk to our buddy John Island from Rancho Leonel. Buenos dias, John.
Morning, John.
Morning, Pedro. Well, it's all about the Dorado down here down south. We're overrun, literally, with Dorado. Right in front of the hotel. I'm not kidding, maybe 100 yards off the beach, up to the Shark Shack Point, which is just about a mile north. The boats are not going very far. Everybody's limiting. Some big bulls. What's happening is the guys are going out and they're throwing feathers and ballyhoo and the squid and picking up a lot of fish. And they're releasing smaller fish, mostly females, and most of the larger fish are males, and they're hanging on to them. Average fish is 12 to 15 pounds, and then there's some big bulls mixed in. But it's really all about the Dorado. There's sails mixed in with them, catching on them on the same bait, and most of the boats are releasing at least one sailfish as well. That's really the news, and they're just staying right there in the morning and coming in. All the boats are coming in early because they don't want to spoil their fish, so that's pretty good. Roosterfish, big roosters, for this time of year, 40, 50 pounders. On the Caballito, right down by the lighthouse, and that bite's been good too. But that's been pretty much it. The Palmas tuna shootout was yesterday.
Right.
And I'm not sure where they caught the fish, but their largest fish the winning fish was a 78.5 pound. Second fish was 57.5. I'm not sure whether they went north or south, but I'm willing to bet that they caught them off the bottom. That's where most of the big tuna are right now. They're not schooling under the porpoise. So, and I think the pad around that for that first place fish should be around $50,000, $50,000, something like that. So, a good thing. Water temps have cooled off a little bit, 88 degrees, 89 degrees. So, it's fishing's still pretty darn good, and the boats haven't had to range very far. So, the tuna could easily be out there further out somewhere, but our guests are really loading up on the Dorado.
That sounds really good. I know our friend Chris Barrick said yesterday, Dorado fishing just off the charts down there. So, and we'll be down there for our Palmas tournament here a couple weeks away. So, looking forward to seeing you and hanging out at Rancho Leonero and enjoying the beautiful East Cape. There's still, speaking of hanging out at Rancho Leonero, that time is clicking off. There's still a little bit of time to get in there before December 1st. John, are spots available prime time here, October, November?
Yeah, we do have room in October, November. Come on down. You know, the fishing's been pretty darn good. October's just an excellent month on the East Cape. Yeah. Warm water, cooler air, just a good time to be there. Very popular. Looking forward to seeing you, Pedro.
Yeah, so how do we get a hold of you? We want to grab one of those last rooms and boats for Rancho Leonero.
Gracias. That's 800-646-2252 or rancholeonero.com.
All right. Get in while you can. The end of an era, John.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll talk to you next Sunday. Appreciate
sure will. Thank you.
Glad things are biting for sure. Yeah. And some good stuff there.
You know what?
A lot of great text.
There's a lot of great ones, and a lot of them are connected to wanting to know about the cedar plug again. I've seen
really?
6 or 8 texts.
Well, give us one.
Well, actually, the one I have now is about processing lobster. But, but I was sifting
But that's not
through
a bad idea, too.
Yeah, I know. So God, bear with me here, Pete. I'm sorry.
Oh, not a problem.
This is a great show. I'm hooping at night at Catalina and then staying the night and returning home the next day. What is the best way to keep or process my lobster? Thanks, Grant and Orange.
That's a good question.
So the way that I do it whenever I stay at Catalina overnight is I'll either leave them in my bait tank. I have a pretty big bait tank. Or I'll take a towel, just dip it in the salt water, not fresh water. If you use fresh water, you'll kill them.
They'll die.
Yep. So take the towel, put it in the salt water, take it out, wring it out, make sure it's not dripping wet. Put it inside of a ice chest, and then put the lobsters on top of it.
On top of it?
Don't put the towel on top of the lobsters.
Okay.
Just put the lobsters on top of the towel.
Interesting. They'll do fine.
Uh-huh.
In the cooler.
They will.
Do you need to get air into the cooler to keep it cracked?
I don't. I'll just leave it closed.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Now, processing lobster on the boat is illegal, right?
Illegal.
Yeah.
It is.
So what is the deal on that? You get off your boat, you have to be on dry land to process process your lobsters, Steve?
There's different things. I would convert to Department of Fish and Game.
Okay.
California. I would wait until you get home.
I think the law states that you cannot dismantle the tail from the head. I mean, I'm remembering from years ago.
Yes.
You cannot dismantle the tail from the head until the point of consumption.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Exactly.
Yes.
So technically, if a game warden came to your house and you had lobster in your freezer, they should not be tailed. They should be.
So if he came in and had a warrant for your arrest and a search warrant and stuff and went into your freezer and found tails of spiny lobster, you get a citation.
Exactly.
And that's not gonna happen. First of all, because not that I have lobster tails in my freezer, but But I've heard people that do that.
Yeah.
It's a
friend of mine.
Yeah, a friend of mine.
Somebody I
know. But I think that Justin has the best way. Wait till you get home, tail them there, and then process
Absolutely.
them there.
And, the ticket for one lobster is $800.
$800.
One lobster.
One lobster. Yeah,
I would not want to find out.
Absolutely crazy. And a fish and game officer told me one time, 3 or more lobsters, they can take you to jail.
Unbelievable.
I don't know if they do it here in California, but they
That's
can.
crazy.
You never know.
Crazy, but it's, you know what? I mean, if you're doing it right, it is the coolest golden nugget harvest that we have, really. I mean, think about it. It's accessible from any point in the Bight of Southern California.
Right.
You don't have to go very far.
And it's so fun.
It is fun.
It's a lot of fun. You don't just catch lobsters. You catch crabs, you catch starfish, eels.
Yeah. Oh, those are always fun, right?
Stingrays.
Yeah.
You catch fish, sculpin, bass, all kinds of stuff inside the hoop net. It's so much fun.
Don't keep the fish, though.
No.
Oh, it's illegal. If you catch them in the net, you cannot keep fish.
No.
Like sculpin or sand bass.
Unless Pete had a rod and reel on the boat with a lure in the rod holder.
In the rod holder.
I guess you could.
And that lure somehow made it into the hoop net caught the fish.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to touch the fish, so you got to get it out with a jig, right?
Yes.
You got to get it out with a jig.
Oh, I got him. Hook up. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of kind of crazy laws when it comes up, but they don't mess around with lobsters.
Right. No.
And especially throw the caution out too, short lobsters. If that thing is rattling the gauge, throw it back, because man, it's not worth an $800 ticket.
It is not.
Because if his gauge varies a fraction of a millimeter from yours, you're getting a ticket.
No, it's the other way around. If your gauge is a fraction off, which some get bent and some get, get tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, even if it's just a clicker. If it's a clicker, throw it back. It's not worth it.
Yeah, because it could be short.
Because the Fish and Game officer will pull it back further than what you did, and it'll be short.
It'll be short.
And
$800.
And honestly, think about it. The more you measure that lobster and the more you try to make it work, the more of a dent you're putting in the shell, right?
Yeah.
So,
The way I always do it is I put it on the back of the carapace, and then if the eyes wiggle, it's going back.
Yeah.
Right? So that means if the eyes wiggle, it's flipping over the end of that carapace, and it's short.
That's a good point. I was just going to say is those lobster, in between their eyes, there's a soft spot. So depending on how much pressure you put on that soft spot, it could be a legal or illegal size lobster. So that's why I always, if it's anywhere near, if it's close at all, I just don't even bother with it. I just throw it back.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, because you don't know how hard the warden's going to push on it. If like I said, that spot is soft, it's not worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
Just gambling.
Just don't even second guess it, right? It's not even worth it.
Yeah, let's jump back in the phones.
Let's do it. Absolutely. John from Escondido. Good morning. Appreciate you joining us on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. And so just a couple questions. My wife and I will go out on some different charters. We'll go out of Long Beach on the Gale Force and go over to Catalina. We'll fish a jig strike there in San Diego Bay. The lobster last year seemed to have disappeared in San Diego Bay. But my question for the gentleman, if we were to go to Catalina and spend the night, can we go to Department of Fish and Game and get an extended so we can have 2-day limit?
Permit.
You can. You can go on their website and get one, but there's different laws on that too. So you'll have to go on there and read all the laws. You have to let Fish and Game know what exact time you're leaving and the exact time and date you're coming back. Because if they go to check on you and you're not there, you may be in trouble.
Yeah. So in other words, to get a 2-day permit, you'd have to leave before noon, right? Is the way I understand it. It has to be 12 hours.
It has to be 12 hours.
Yeah. And so if you leave just before noon from the harbor on your trip, and then you come back after noon the next day, then you could get a 2. But so you'd have to get your first limit before midnight and your second limit after midnight if you're only going to go over there for one day.
Yeah, it's really weird. Yeah. The laws on it are really strange.
But if you go for 2 full days, if you're doing 2 full nights, then you're probably in the clear.
No problem.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of it's cool they give you allow you to do it, right? I mean, it's kind of neat.
So Catalina is so great on lobster hooping that if you're going to go for a couple days, I would definitely get one.
Yeah.
For everybody on board. Don't just do it for one person. Everyone.
Oh, so you have to have a 2-day permit for everybody.
I don't know if you have to have it for everybody, but if I was going, I would get it for everyone on board because that would be a lot.
Does it cost anything? I mean, is it?
No, it's free.
It's free. You just have to register and let them know.
Pretty sure, right, Steve?
I'm pretty sure it's free. Yeah. Because you already have your lobster card. You already have your license. I mean, I would think it would be free. But I'm not 100% sure. But it's got to be free.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
So let me ask you this, and I know these are technicalities. Everybody that is fishing or lobster fishing has to have a license and a card. What if they're not fishing? You're not going to take a limit for that person. Does that person have to have a license and a card?
So I'll lay it all out. So just so it's easy, if you're fishing a pier, you do not need a fishing license, but you do need a lobster card. If you are a minor, you do not need a fishing license, but you do need a lobster card. If you're on a boat, let's say you own a boat, it's 4 of your buddies, only 2 of you actually want a hoop net and keep lobster. Everyone, as long as you're not a minor, you need your fishing license and you need a lobster card.
Oh, okay.
You can't, if a warden comes and he sees you and you start talking, you can't say, oh, well, they don't have their lobster cards, but they're not doing anything. They don't buy that. No, because who knows if, Jimmy actually pulled the hoop net or not.
Yeah.
They're everybody, if you're involved, if you're on a vessel that is lobster hooping, technically everybody is involved. You're on that vessel. That vessel is hooping, so that's everyone on the vessel.
Good information.
And why not everyone get a lobster card when you're on the boat?
Yeah.
You could be shorting yourself.
Exactly.
You go to Long Beach when it opens, or you go to Catalina, one person out of two have a card. Right? You're only getting 7 lobsters when you could have had 14 on one pole.
Right.
Yeah, if I take my buddy out and he doesn't like to eat lobster, I buy his card. He stores his limit in his refrigerator until I go through mine, and I say, hey, can you give me some of those lobster that we got?
Sounds like Steve has it all figured out.
He's got it all figured out.
Yeah. So
he's not getting a ticket. He's not getting a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, man, good stuff. We're going to be right back. Let's Talk Hookup. Well, this lobster talk's got me all fired up, man. We're going to be right back on Let's Talk Hookup about the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Low gas prices, great service, and free ice is what Summit Gasoline at the San Diego Sports Arena is all about. For your car, truck, and especially your trailer boat, you need Summit Gasoline. The savings are substantial when you fill up at the Summit, but they don't compromise on service. No way. The great staff is attentive, friendly, and ready to help. When you pull up to the pumps, notice how clean it is, the great sound system, and of course, the low gas and diesel prices. Walk into the Summit Gasoline Bistro and check out the selection of frozen bait and chum, the top-of-the-line Italian coffee, and so much more. Now, hear this. Get 100 pounds of ice free with a 35-gallon minimum purchase, and stock up on snacks, beer, water, soda, and fishing licenses for your trip. Just when you need low gas prices most, Summit Gasoline at the Sports Arena comes to the rescue. Summit Gasoline. Low prices, friendly staff, free ice, and easy in and out with your boat and trailer at the San Diego Sports Arena.
Hey, it's time to talk about great gear from Shimano. And, Corey and Tranks just kind of go together, right, Corey?
Well, they're the best reels, man.
They're amazing, whether it be bass or tuna, right? You're fishing a Tranks 400 and catching 30-pound tuna, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I confirmed with Brandon Bono. He was using the 300 Tranks when he had that 112-pound bluefin. God, just crazy, right?
It's an amazing drag system, amazing power on those reels.
Castability.
And though they're made not necessarily for 100-pound bluefin or even 30-pound yellowfin, they work. And that's the difference, whether it be the 500, the 400, the 300, and even the powerful little 200, man. That thing is an amazing reel.
Not for the tuna, but for the calico fishing and El Salto, 100%.
I know you use it for rock fishing, too, shallow water rock cod.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Man.
Shimano Tranks, it's your local Shimano dealer.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know, CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere. It's time for the Power Pro 30-second seminar. I like catching big fish, and I like smaller reels, too. How do I make sure that I have the capacity to land the big one? I fill my reels with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro, so you get more line on that small reel. Power Pro has a complete series of highly effective lines, including the brand new Power Pro Depth Hunter Offshore, with different colors every 100 feet. Perfect for flatfall fishing. Want to learn more? Check powerpro.com.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup, and having so much fun today. And if you want to join us, one open line right now, 213-432-1090. It's yours right now, or send us a text via the app. And there's a lot happening in here with Steve and Justin, and talking Promar and lobster and all this tuna fishing.
Giving away a couple $50 gift cards to Promar, one for a texter, one to a caller.
Appreciate you reminding me, man.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
I know.
You can score some great stuff.
50 going to a caller, 50 going to a texter.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, if you had a $50 gift card from Promar, what would you get?
Well, if I was going tuna fishing, I'd get some of those jigs and some cedar plugs like Justin just mentioned. I'd probably get a sabiki rod, sabikis.
Yeah.
Just to be completely outfitted with for bait and some artificials. And then if I was going hooping, I'd get a lot more, as many bait cages as possible, seal-proof bait cages. I'm a firm believer in having too much bait when you're going out lobster hooping. So I always bring as much bait as I possibly can, and I try to pack as much of those seal-proof bait cages so that I have a bunch that I can just swap out as I'm hooping through the night.
Yeah, and that's what's nice too, is if you have more than 10, then you can swap them out and not hold up your program.
Right away.
Yeah, I have 20 on my boat.
20. So you can rotate through, get fresh bait in there,
and have them ready to go. So about every 3 pulls, change it.
Yeah,
because you're going to notice a lot of the bait inside that tube is gone.
Yeah. Or it's kind of flushed out.
Washed out,
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's find out what's biting.
It's that time, and it's time for tuna in SoCal. And if you are not using Gamakatsu hooks, you're missing bites. The Nautilus Circle hook comes in sizes as small as a number 4 all the way up to a 6/0. And for the big fish, the Nautilus HD is tough enough, but not oversized. Both come with ring or no ring. See your local dealer or check Gamakatsu.com. And can't wait to hear Brian Woolley's report from Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going this morning? Good?
Yeah, going really well, man. You're in kind of tuna central right there.
We've been close, and it's been very good fishing for us. You know, our 3/4 day and our all-day trips right now, you know, we fished offshore all week with that stuff being, you know, close. So with this opportunity to catch, I mean, this is very nice grade of tuna, too. You know, we spent our time out there. This bluefin that we've been catching has ranged in size from like 25 to 60 pounds. We've been getting the boat stopped on foamer spots, breezers, sonar schools. You know, all of it's kind of been in play there, getting us stopped. The fly line setups, I'd say fish best for our guys this week. 25 to 40 pound got bit fine. Having a rod set up with the sinker rig was a big deal this week, too. The guys that had those ready to grab out of the rack and drop down 100, 200 feet were rewarded with some real nice fish as well. And then those current sniper jigs, 100 gram, 120 gram, or something similar to that, rigged with, appropriate sized hook, got plenty of bites as well. And also important, fluorocarbon leader was a big help, but with a little bit of weather, we had a little bit of breeze, the boat was rolling around a lot. So having a good monofilament leader for that absorption as the boat rolled around was a key thing as well this week. We lost some fish the last couple minutes of, at color and whatnot, just because guys had too short of leaders. So that was a big deal this week. And then the yellowfin that we've been catching, that fish has been in, kind of the same range, 25 to 40 pounds. Some stops have been on breaking fish, and it seems like if you're in that warmer water, any spotted dolphin out there has had fish on it. So that has been a very good option as well. And, we've seen some spots, the first 10 fish have been yellowfin, and then that bluefin will come in and kind of push those out. And it's just been good mixed stops for that kind of stuff. And then while we've been drifting on our stops for that tuna, we've had some open water mahi bites and catching some fish like that. There has been a few good mahi kelps around in our zone too, so there's been a little bit of that in our counts. But man, this has been perfect fishing for our small boat fleet too. Both Christian on the Lexi has had a phenomenal week out there, as has Todd on the boardroom. It's just, it's been close. It's taken some work to locate and find this stuff, and you can imagine some of the skiff pressure in and around some of these zones too over the weekend was definitely there. I think everyone wants to get in on some of it, so that's all been out there. And then the Fury, he had an amazing week too in that lower overnight zone. Bluefin limits on a couple occasions for him this week, as well as a day where they got tied into some of those bigger 200-pound fish and kind of got hung up in a zone where they were, catching the smaller grade fish the day before, and they kind of got stuck in a zone with, battling some of those bigger 200-pounders too. So good week across the board in our bass fishing. I can't forget about that. That remained kind of status quo with the water in the 66 to 68 degree range. Dropper loops, reverse dropper loops, Carolina rigs, as that bass is kind of mid-water right now. Mid-water down towards the bottom. Guys catching sand bass on those setups and some sheephead too. The shrimp baits for those guys on those sheepheads has been key. And, the water temp definitely played a role in that bass fishing for us. But great week. We've been busy. We expect to be busy again this next week. We've got all-day trips on, a couple different boats this week, as well as A 5-to-5 schedule, I think, over the weekend on the new San Mateo, limited to 12 guys. Captain Chase get some guys out there that way. We're just busy. So call and make a reservation. You have to make a reservation to get a spot on a boat right now. Our number here, 949-496-5794. Of course, you can link us there through the Let's Talk Hookup page or check us out at DanaWharf.com.
No, it's definitely good stuff, man. I don't
fishing, huh?
I know it's such quality size, like you said, and it's close enough that you get a lot of fishing time on a full day trip out of there, and I don't see it slowing down. I mean, do you see? I don't see it getting any worse. I think maybe better, huh?
No, I mean, yeah. If you look at some of the satellite pictures, you know that the warm water bubble kind of pushed up the beach for a couple days this week, and now it's kind of sliding back down. So stuff's just kind of slowly moving around. I think where we're at, like you were saying at the very beginning there, we've got a good location to start looking from, and we'll see how this week plays out. It's just very important to let our guys know, come with the right tackle. This fish will exploit bad tackle, and it'll put you to the test on the right tackle. You know what I mean? So
no doubt
come
about
prepared with a good assortment of hooks and whatnot. So that's all I got for you guys. We had a good week.
Thanks, Scott Booley. Appreciate that. Talk to you next Sunday for sure. And before we continue our catch report, an interesting question here from Mike in Rosemead. He says, I've seen the Sierra Lakes, mainly Gull Lake, where I fish to pass very large size crayfish. Does Promar make smaller versions of traps that you can catch the crayfish? I know that's one of Jim Salazar's specialties out there on fishing Gull and also June Lake too for the giant crayfish.
Yeah, exactly. So Jim he used to do a lot of seminars for us during the Fred Hall show where he would teach people how to do that in the Sierras. He'd show images, all these great images of him when he goes up there. And yes, we do offer a large variety of traps specifically for crawfish. I think
you do.
Just off of the top of my head, I can think of 3, which are the TR601, TR603, and then the TR101. So if you
this is an enclosed trap that you use.
Yeah, exactly. So we have some that are tubular, and then one that's like a box style size trap, and they work really well.
And you just bait them and put them down?
Yeah, there's different types. It's like lobster hooping. There's different types of baits that people prefer. I think Jim uses whatever's left over from the campfire or from dinner before.
Sure.
But there's different things. I know people use chicken livers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just like it's very similar to lobster fishing. We offer a huge variety of traps for that, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So for guys bass fishing too, if they want to catch them in the local creeks or stuff like that, you have traps.
Yeah. So Jim actually goes out and he'll put some traps out, and then he'll go trout fishing, troll around in his kayak, and then he'll come back later that day and check the traps, and they'll be full of crawfish, and he'll do a crawfish boil that night.
Yeah, that sounds so good.
Yeah, that clean Sierra
cold
Lakes.
Water.
Oh yeah,
can you imagine?
And the pictures he sends me, they're like mini lobsters, right? I'm sure you've seen them, right?
Yeah, he does a big. I mean, I think he invites a bunch of people just people in the same campground, because there's so much that he does, and he does a big old pot. He throws it on the table, and it looks really good. And it's a lot of fun.
So Promar makes all that stuff.
Yeah, you can find all that stuff on our website, promarahi.com.
There you go. Hey, Scott Sherman's on the line. Good morning, Scott. Shermanator.
Hey, buddy. Good morning. Hey, I got a comment and a question, if you don't mind. When you were talking about the bait tubes and the cost of building your own compared to getting one at Promar, I can speak from experience with the ones I've been building forever. I had to replace one the other day, and when all was said and done, I was about $40 into it just for trying to do one, not to mention all the labor and time you put into them. So it's probably well worth the deal to do those bait tubes, because they do work. And then question is, how do you determine what depth to set your hoops and when? I mean, is it a tide thing? Is it a time of year where you go? I mean, how do you decide what depth you're going to set them?
I only go all year, all season. I only hoop net from 10 to 40, 45 feet.
That's as deep as you go.
That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
All year or all season. So.
And your successes. And you're hooping, whether that be Alamitos Bay, Long Beach Harbor, Catalina,
San Diego,
all the above,
everywhere.
Wow.
Now, what if this has happened to me? What if I plan on hooping inside the harbor or somewhere close to where my boat is, but all those spots that I like to fish are just jam packed?
Good question.
And the only real option is to go to a spot that you know is 80 feet. Like, what do you do under those circumstances?
So, I've never ran into that before. ever. I'm a member of Your Saltwater Guide, so we have all the spots on there. There's always going to be a spot that you can go to in the shallower water for me. If I had to go deeper water, then I would. I normally measure the nets or the rope with my arms 3 feet at a time, and then I'll take whatever slack over and I'll put the weight on it to drop it down.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So your Saltwater Guide has spots at various locations of where to hoop?
It does. It's actually the only website you can go to that'll give you hot spots for lobster.
For lobster.
Mm-hmm.
How about
All the way from the Channel Islands down to San Diego.
Wow.
Everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Very interesting.
I wonder if he has any of your spots on there.
I don't know. I mean,
it's probably on there.
Yeah.
Right? It probably is.
Has my spots, Dave's spots.
Everybody's spots.
All the spots that Dave has been to, it's all on there, and other people's spots.
Yeah, super informative. We might hear from him later. I know when we return, we're going to hear a continuation of the Fish Report and how we have Gundy Gunderson on hold. So we're going to be right back on Let's Talk Hookup, the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
Offshore fishing is on. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. For bluefin tuna and yellowtail, nothing beats the Shimano Talica, the pinnacle of lever drag 2-speed reels. Shimano's Speedmaster 2 is also an extremely durable, high-performance lever drag reel for the more budget-minded angler. Both the Talica and Speedmaster 2 feature Shimano's Hagani body to prevent misalignment of moving parts under the heaviest of loads. For all your Shimano, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing offers half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the Liberty. Many trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
There are moments that change our perception of what is and isn't possible. Cosmic shifts where the stars align with the Earth to alter how we see the world. The release of King Tide is one of those moments. This is the crowning achievement of Costa's 40-year legacy on the water, the culmination of every innovation and lessons learned up until this point. Wins and losses and highs and lows have brought us here to stand witness to a legacy brought to life, to achieve the ultimate potential on the water. Costa King Tide, rule the water.
Hey, we're so lucky here in San Diego. We have fantastic weather and great fishing. We also have 3 great shops to take care of anglers. Hi, this is Ben, and you will see me at my dad's shop, Dana Landing in Mission Bay. We call it the one-stop shop for a great day on the water because it truly is. Food, bait, tackle, beverages, and more. Our tackle shop, headed by Johnny, is certainly one of the best. We have you covered from bay bass to big tuna. Plus, we have Doug, one of the finest reel repair guys around. For freshwater tackle, nothing beats East County Bait and Tackle. Jeet and the guys have the best stratum reels, the hottest lures, and live bait. Our newest shop is Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, growing their stock of both fresh and saltwater tackle right in the heart of Lemon Grove. ECBT is at the end of the 67 freeway on Maple View and Lakeside. Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, 94 to Broadway in Lemon Grove, and Dana Landing is next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay. Check danalanding.com for more details.
Here's the hot tip on the best fishing LA has to offer. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. They are home to LA's finest open party fleet, including overnight on the Freedom, Catalina Freelance on the Pursuit, half-day trips on the Monte Carlo, and 3/4-day trips on the Sea Angler. For your own private charter, we have the Outrider and True Line available. There's always plenty of free parking and a fully stocked tackle store. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. Call 310-832-8304 or on the web at 22ndstreet.com.